This video is brought to you by none other than Hire Heroes, you guys. Hire Heroes is your one-stop shop when it comes to virtual staffing and making sure that you have qualified talent with your business. One thing that I love about Hire Heroes, you guys, is they've actually gone through the process already of vetting and making sure that your staff member is well trained to best fit your needs. Whether you need help with social media work, posting things on your accounts, responding to people that send messages to your social media accounts, whether you need help with data entry or a multitude of other things that they're qualified to do, Hire Heroes has got you covered. If you're having trouble finding quality talent and number two, affording to be able to run payroll for that talent, Hire Heroes has got you covered with an affordable alternative to have a virtual assistant working for your business. There's a link down in the description of this video to where you can learn more about getting your own VA through Hire Heroes. I certainly recommend it. They're what we use in our business for all of our virtual assistant needs, and you will want to make sure that you check them out today. Hey, what's up, guys? Christian Brindle here, and I am back today with another guest that we're going to be having a great conversation with, somebody that works for probably my favorite organization in the space these days, Agent Pipeline. I have the one and only Sarah Christy, who is the Director of Medicare Supplement Sales and Ancillary Sales for Agent Pipeline. Sarah, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful, Christian. Thank you so much for inviting me on the show. And I really appreciate the shout out for Agent Pipeline.
100%. Like I try to do it as much as I possibly can, because I tell people all the time, people say, what's an FMO you should consider, what's an FMO you should work with. And there's no organization that's made more of an impact in my career than Agent Pipeline. So any chance I get, I try to do it.
Well, we appreciate you.
Well, the feeling is definitely mutual. There's so much that I can talk with you about. You're just a wealth of knowledge. So I want to make sure that we cover some real specific topics that I think are going to be relevant for agents. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is 2023, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a lot of agents that are marketing themselves like it's 2013 or 2003, right? What do you think? What are you seeing right now as some of the best ways for agents to be getting in front of clients? Because I always say that the hardest thing for an agent to do is get in front of people. I think most agents can do a great presentation. Most agents will have the Medicare knowledge, right? Most agents will be able to help somebody find a great plan. But getting out of that obscurity to where people know who they are and getting in front of people, that's probably the hardest thing for an independent agent, in my opinion. What are some ways that you think are 2023 appropriate for agents to do that?
Well, one of the first things is something that you are obviously very familiar with and obviously excellent at: social media presence. I think I saw a statistic recently that 83% of seniors have Facebook accounts. Even my parents, my mom has a Facebook account, and she is not a technology person. So if she has it and uses it, I know there are probably tons more seniors who also have Facebook and utilize it. And then another statistic was that almost 58% of folks that see an ad or anything on Facebook or social media will go and then Google that actual company outside of the ad. That's a lot, right? That's a lot of exposure. And of course, video marketing on YouTube, that has relevant information for your target audience. I think that's a wonderful way to get in front of people. YouTube is huge, as you well know. You're on it for a reason. It's a huge platform, and people get on it all the time. I remember, back in my day earlier, when there was not necessarily a YouTube around, when you wanted to learn how to do something, man, you had to go to the library. You had to get a book about it. The internet, you could look things up on the internet, but to teach yourself how to do something was, very difficult. Now everybody goes to YouTube, right? That's what you do. Yep. I want to learn how to string a guitar. Well, I'll go to YouTube. I'll watch a couple of videos on it, and off I go. So I think YouTube's a huge platform for people. It's heavily used. Websites, of course, we're talking all electronic stuff at this point, but in this day and age, you really should have a website.
Yeah.
And that website should probably provide some tangible things for seniors, relevant topics that they're interested in. Maybe some things that they can pull off of it and take away with them. A monthly newsletter, maybe a list of resources that they can utilize. Our public library system, and I know this because I used to work for the public library system when I was in college, loved it. But they have a section of the library called their community and referral department. And so you can call them, or you can get on their website, and they have a list of all kinds of resources that not just seniors can use. It's for the whole community, but there are many that are senior focused. How to, help get your electricity paid for if you need help with that. If you are struggling with mental situations or loneliness or things like that, they have all kinds of things that are available to them. And providing some of that for them to be able to pull off of your website is a great way to get in front of seniors.
I love that. I think that's really smart. And I think it's just, it's more so to me these days, just finding ways like that to think outside the box, right? Try to do things that are different. I feel like, 15 years ago, 20 years ago in the business, it was much easier to do things generically, right? Like generic direct mail card, generic
That's right.
this, generic that, right? And I feel
Right.
like that I think what we're seeing is we're seeing less and less of the generic stuff that you can that are cookie cutter that anybody can just step into the shoes of. It's more transactional, and it's just not as effective, for lack of a better word. I think these days, I think creativity like that is going to be probably the winner. I wanted to talk about an area of expertise for you, and that's Medicare supplement sales. So everybody knows in the Medicare space, right? There's been a lot more of a pinch in the last 6 months or so with rules, regulations for Medicare Advantage. Do you feel like that is causing more of I don't want to say resurgence, because I don't think it was ever really gone, but just more of an uptick in Medicare supplement business?
So that's an excellent question. The new rules or the proposed rules that are getting ready probably to become the final rule, I definitely have created some barriers for sales for Medicare Advantage and Part D, particularly for call centers. Do I feel like that will spur more sales for MedSups? Honestly, I'm not sure. In a perfect world, it wouldn't matter, right? Whether, new rules, advertising, what have you. The clients that best fit into a MedSup plan get sold a MedSup plan, and the clients that fit best into an MA plan get sold an MA plan. I would say that will agents find it a bit easier to sell Medicare supplement over Medicare Advantage? I'm sure that there will be a subset of agents who gravitate that way. And you know what? Even though we've seen sales kind of drift off to some degree to the Medicare Advantage, whereas they might have traditionally stayed with MedSup, I think that there will always be a place for Medicare supplement. Again, you want to make sure that you are selling your client the best product, and the best product for client A is not the same as for client B. And so I think there's definitely room for both of those products in our market.
Yeah, 100%. Very well said. I think like there's so many times where I'll have a conversation with an agent, and I'm sure you run into this just as much, if not more. And they're so heavily focused on one side or the other. They're like, I'm pro MA, I'm pro MedSup, MA is the devil, and it's like they both have a place. There's a client that fits with both. And when you're working with a client, particularly a newly eligible, you should be presenting both.
Absolutely.
With the complete and most unbiased perspective you can, and letting them pick what they want. And
Absolutely.
I think that increases their retention and probably increases their lifetime value on that client.
Yep.
And everything else in between. So I think that's very well said. And I think that's a message agents need to hear, because it's kind of becoming like you're either on this camp or that camp. And I don't think it should be that way.
I agree. And you're right. I have seen this probably more recently, probably over the last 2 years, where you hear more about people either kind of planting their flag for MA or planting their flag for, MedSup. And again, I mean, I don't think I think it's okay if you like prefer one over the other, like maybe med stuff is easier to sell, or
Mhm.
maybe MA is easier to sell for you. I mean, whatever the case may be, but at the end of the day, it's not our preference. It's what the client best fits into and what best serves their needs. And both of those products address different things. So I agree. Probably, most definitely, agents need to present both. And I mean, because like you said, at the end of the day, if they're happy in their plan, they're going to stay there. Their
Yep.
persistency will be good. It will be high. And, you're providing a valuable service. So you want to make sure that you're giving them all their options. And I know you didn't bring this up, but just to kind of expand on that just a little bit,
Sure. Yeah, of
you
course.
also want to make sure, and of course, this is very timely because as I mentioned, we had the queen of the bundle herself in our office this week. You want to make sure also that you're presenting all the products that are available to them.
Yeah.
You and I are in the industry, so we know what products are available, right? So we know
Yeah.
that, when we turn 65, we're going to need a dental plan. We're going to need probably a cancer plan. But if you're not in the industry, you don't know what's out there. And most people probably don't just sit and Google, like, what kind of insurance should I buy? What do I need? What extra things do I need besides health insurance?
Hmm.
So, presenting sort of that full package is always the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And shout out to Galen as well, because she was probably she was the first person that planted the seed in my mind that
Hmm.
the value proposition of cancer plans and things like
Oh,
that.
yes.
Before that, we never really sold any of them, and I didn't
Mm,
get it. I didn't understand. I didn't get it as an agent, and
yeah.
that's kind of scary to say, because as agents we're supposed to be the experts, right? But it's so true, and I think between covering the clients better, between helping our retention rate, because write more policies in the house equals
That's right.
higher retention rate. One thing I learned a couple years ago was one of my early mentors was really against dental sales for some reason. And so as a young new agent, I was kind of the same. I just adopted. I was like, oh, dental sales, dental plans, they're no good. And what I
Hmm.
learned was our clients were going and getting them other places because we weren't offering them.
Right.
And I was like, well, they're buying them anyway. They're not listening to us. If we say they're bad and they want them, they're going to go get them somewhere else. It's like,
That's right.
and of course, my opinion is dramatically changed. Of course, I have dental
Mm.
plans on myself and my family. Like, I don't think they're bad plans at all. We do a lot of them now, but early on, it was one of those things where I had this light bulb moment where I'm like, if we're not offering something to them, we're opening the door for someone else to come in and offer it and
Yep.
potentially replace our business all around.
Yes.
And I just think that that's something that agents really need to realize. It's like you're doing them a disservice for one, because it's something they want, something they
Yes.
need, and then you're doing yourself a disservice for two, because you're giving them an opportunity to go elsewhere.
Absolutely. I am after probably one of the first full trainings, and I've known Galen for a really long time. She's always been sort of a mentor to me, even though we weren't integrity partners to begin with, back in
Mhm.
that day. But the first time she gave a talk on the importance of cancer plans, I immediately, same day, bought a cancer plan for myself. I was like, man, there is really a need for this. I don't want to be without coverage that I might very well need in the future. And, I talked about this a little bit this week and a little bit on some of the trips I've been on recently with other agents. Most people, when, you think, what if I win the lottery? What's the first thing that I'm going to buy? Most people think, oh, probably a brand new house, a big vacation. But I tell you what, if I win the lottery, I'm the first thing I'm going to do is buy every kind of insurance for myself, for my family, for the people that I love, because, it's a risk mitigator.
Yes.
We all know that we're going to get older. Our health is going to fail at some point, no matter how healthy you live up until the day that you're not healthy. And so to me, that is a very smart way to spend your money. And I think it's important to kind of impart that message about how important insurance is, because I'm I know somebody who is younger, probably not much older than myself. I'm 45. She's probably around the same age, and I've known her for a while, and she was diagnosed with cancer. just kind of out of the blue, lived a pretty healthy lifestyle and, had really always been good with finances and, being debt free, taking care of things, very financially responsible, had some really good savings. What she didn't have was a cancer plan. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, what happened is she's run through all of her savings paying for treatment. And I thought to myself, what a terrible thing to work so hard only to hit financial devastation because of this event.
Yeah.
And you can't make up time, right? You can't turn the clock back and make yourself 20 again so you can work hard for a number of years and start building that back up. Time's just not on your side. And I just think it's really important, honestly, to protect your finances in the future. One of the best things you can do is make sure you're well covered for any, health catastrophic event that might befall you, because honestly, it's probably gonna hit more of us than we think.
Yep. Yep. I agree. Every time I talk to Galen, she throws some stat at me and I'm like, I don't want to hear that. Every single time. Every single time. I think the last time I talked to her, she's like, 1 out of 3 men is going to get cancer in their life. I'm like, there's 1, there's 2. Like if I'm hanging out with somebody, I'm like, there's 3 of us here. That's 1 of us.
That's right.
And so, but it is very true. Like I took out a cancer plan on myself, on my wife, on my daughter as well, for the same reason. And I, I'm a big believer. I am very overinsured these days, and I prefer it that way. I prefer it that way, because of everything that we see in our world, right? Is in the insurance business, you see everything, and so you just kind of get a little paranoid. But I'd rather be overinsured than under, and it's good to be a product of the product.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%.
I want to be respectful of your time, but I have one more topic I wanted to kind of kick around with you. And that is AEP. A question I get asked all the time from agents is, when should I start getting ready for AEP? And I've heard a lot of different answers to this over the years. And I was curious what your advice is to agents out there.
Right now, as soon as possible is when you should start preparing for AEP. I think you mentioned earlier that you'd heard that somebody said day after, AEP ends, December 8th, that's when you should start focusing. And honestly, that is excellent advice. So I won't try to recreate the wheel here. Yes, the day after. Especially, as an agent, or if you're an individual agent or you're a recruiting agency, right after AEP it's the time, especially if you're looking to recruit new agents. You have the blackout period start to end around the first of the new year. So you want to get prepped for that if you've got folks that you're trying to targets that you're trying to go after and recruit to help build your agency. You also, that's the time period when you want to not start communicating with your clients, but continuing to communicate with your clients, especially the ones that you just wrote. I'm making sure that they've got their cards, letting them know what's going to happen, and prepping them to say, hey, listen, I'm talking to you today. I'm going to call you probably in a couple of weeks to see how things are going. But also, let's go ahead and set an appointment, because this time period is going to come around next year. I want to make sure that we have plenty of time for you to, for us to discuss your coverage once the new plans come out, so we can talk about it. So yes, as soon as possible is always best. I think AHIP comes out here pretty soon. I can't remember the exact day. I know, I know, but the best advice there: take it as soon as it comes out.
Get it
done. Because the longer you push it forward, and I see this all the time, the longer you push it, as carriers start releasing their plans and their certifications, all of a sudden it's August, September, and you have 15 certs that you have to take and AHIP. And there's all kinds of things going on in the market. Maybe a new carrier comes out and they wait till late to release their plans. And you're like, man, I want that one too. But now, do I have time to certify? Because I have my core products every year I have to certify for.
Yeah.
Just use your time wisely. Like, try to do it as soon as they come out. That will help you in many, many ways.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. My tradition at the last 4 years or so has been, the day it comes out, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And the last couple of years, it's been an ever increasing challenge, right? As we picked up more and more carriers. I think last year I had like 25 or 30 certs to do, something like that.
That's a lot.
And so it's like, it almost gets to the point where we're in our position where we're at right now. If we don't start the second they come out, we're not going to get them all done in time.
Right.
Like, we kind of have to just really be on the ball, but it's good to get the monkey off your back, and
Absolutely.
and to just be done with it. And I've never understood people that waited to the last second. There's an agent that works with us that is a great agent. I love him to pieces. There was one year, he's a habitual waiting till the last second kind of guy. And one year he forgot to do his Humana and he lost all his Humana business.
No. Oh no.
And luckily luckily it was mostly PDPs and things that works, but still it was business that he just lost. And I don't think he's ever done that again since. It was several years ago. But I don't even want to even entertain the possibility of that happening, and so it's just better to just get it done and just move forward with it.
Agreed, 100%. But there was always those people who feel like they perform better under pressure. So they end up doing stuff like that. But I am risk adverse. So I would absolutely probably not go that route.
Yes. Same with me. Sarah, talk about where people can find you. If they watch this video and they just really identified with you, where can people find you? What's the best place to connect? And talk a little bit about the value proposition that you have with Agent Pipeline right now.
Oh, for sure. So if anybody wanted to reach me, they can go actually to our website, which is just very simple, www.agentpipeline.com. My contact information is housed there. It's got my email. It's got my direct phone line. People are free to reach out. I'm like you. I connect a lot on Facebook, and I'm part of one of your Facebook groups and some others, and with people in the industry. So if people wish to reach out to me that way, I'm very receptive and always open to talk to people on Facebook as well. And I've been with Agent Pipeline. I've been blessed to be with Agent Pipeline for a long time. I started working here in 2008. Started out recruiting agents and moved into training marketers to recruit agents. Started working more heavily on the carrier side, and that's kind of what has led me to what my current role is as director of the Medicare Supplement and Ancillary Product Division. I'm responsible for managing key relationships with agents and with carriers, strategy around the products with all of our carrier partners, developing new relationships with new carriers or new products or new opportunities. So I kind of run that. I work with an excellent team, whom many of those folks, Jessica Adkins, who does our marketing. I think you've interviewed her before.
Yeah, I love her. Love her.
Yeah, she's great. She's my bestie. That's her right there on my desk. But Bobby LeMasters, of course, and Ken Patterson, who are key instrumental people to the success of our business. And Laura Kimball, of course, I report directly to her. She's been a great mentor to me. And of course, Ryan Kimball. I mean, it is difficult to find much better people to train you and train you up in this industry. So I've been blessed to work with an excellent team. The whole sales team does a really good job. Their managers do a really good job. It's a team effort. You can't just point at one person and say, you're the reason that we're successful. It's every one of us.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to somebody the other day, and, the topic of Agent Pipeline came up. And one thing I said was, there's so many things that I could point to from the outside looking in. Right. But I just think that the people, everybody that you talk to and meet there they're just great people. They're knowledgeable, but they're friendly, they're fun, they're kind, and it's just a great group, great organization. So, Sarah, I really appreciate you taking the time and kind of coming on and sharing some of your knowledge and insight with the audience here today. And it means a lot. So thank you.
No, I really appreciate you. It's been an honor talking to you, Christian. And I hope I get to see you, maybe meet you sometime face-to-face soon. I don't know if you're going to Medicarians, but I'll be down that way. So hopefully if we get a chance, we can meet up.
I might be. I'm not sure. I'm on the fence still. So
okay.
We'll see. I
understand.
I have to convince my wife to let me go to Vegas twice in a month because I'll be in there for Medicare Con. But
that's right. I forgot about that. Okay. Yeah. That's important. Get your wife's go ahead on that one.
But I am working on it. So we'll see. Okay. I would love to go. I've never been, so I'd love to go. Guys, make sure to connect with Sarah if you're not already on social media, on Facebook, all that stuff. And of course, if you like this kind of content, do us a favor. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back with more videos in the future. Thanks, guys.